Well, at last we're back out in the bush. The format is just a little bit different because now we're travelling in a caravan. I'm glad I bought the big V8 to tow the caravan. It made it so much easier than a small engine car. And while we've got a few more creature comforts, we still have to cook our hot water for coffee. And we're using what would be called a pirated jet boil. Got it from Kmart for about 1/10 of the price. I'm going to give it a crack. Oh, it's boiled. We have made our first night's camp at a place called Burakin on what was the old town hall and tennis court site. Tennis court's still here. Trees have grown through them, but you can see where the nets used to be. I wonder how many games of tennis were played out here. And in the scrub, it's a sort of drainage system, and I'm not sure what it's for, but possibly there's a dam around here somewhere that they use these to capture the water. Where we're parked over there is where the old town hall used to be. You can actually see bits of the concrete foundations that were there, and I'm not sure who removed it, but it was obviously made of asbestos because there's asbestos or pieces of asbestos everywhere around here where we are. And there's our first night's camp. There's a really nice little gazebo here. It'll make a pleasant little spot to stop and have a lunch break or something like that. But down here, something more interesting. And this is what I remember as the Way 79 symbol, the stylised swan for West Australia year 1979 for our 150th anniversary. Well, that's a fairly old sign. It's Westrail and Burakin. And this is the passing track. And it is an active line because we heard a train coming through last night. This is an interesting example of an old railway line. There's a join in the track. There's a join in the track there with a fish plate. And over here on the more modern section of track, is a welded joint, and you can see where the holes were for a fish plate originally. Just wandering through the scrub at Burakin. The town is just across over that way there. There seems to be a lot of rubbish buried here, and there's a few bottles and cans on the surface. I think that is an old Beck's bottle. And I'm not sure what that one was. I've not seen a bottle that shape before. And on the bottom it says Master Food Sydney, so I don't think it's that old. Well, that's the remains of Burakin. You can see the old railway siding shed just over there. There's a building that looks like it was once a shop, and there seems to be a house over there. There was a light on at the back of that shop place, but I don't know whether it's abandoned. I'm not sure about the other house. Haven't seen anybody move around or any cars in here. According to WA Now and Then YouTube channel and website, Burakin was gazetted in 1928, so that's almost 100 years ago. It's really sad to see that there were establishments and little towns all through the wheat belt like this, and most of them are now gone. one of the things I used to be involved with was railway signalling, and there's a cable that comes from that hut, disappears off the end down to there where the passing track and switches are. I think we're just at the start of the wildflower season. Not sure what this is. Grevillea of some sort, Hakea. But they're all just starting to come out. They're really nice. Now I lied. That black cable doesn't go to the switch down the end. It comes to this telecom pit. So when the cable has been damaged between there and over there, or they wanted to run another link, rather than dig a hole, they've just dropped the cable on the ground. Well, clearly someone looks after this place because it's nice and neat. And there's a sign on the side of the building that says it was the post office site. Burakin, 6467. Well, it's pretty solid. Well, there's a body in here.
Of what? A body of water? Oh, what? There's silt in here.
This is Xantippe Tank. You can see how they've made it by just layering concrete in forms. Goes all up top. Originally built here to get water to Dalwallinu, though apparently they couldn't get it over the hills, so they never actually used it for town water. Still at Xantippe Tank, and this is where they've mined or quarried all the stones to make the rock wall, which goes along the contour to get the water into the pipe. And this is the rock wall that they've built, which goes all the way back to the water pipe, which goes down to the tank just over there. And this is the entrance into the pipeway, which then goes straight down that pipe to the water tank. Not sure, but that looks like a nest or something. And the reason I think so is that it's been marked. Just heading up onto the rocky outcrop where we camped on our second day. Walked up on a track from the camping area, and I don't believe this track has been here for that long, because we've been to this site many times and never noticed it before. The wildflowers are just starting to come out. I think we're a little bit early here, but hopefully as we go further north we'll see more and more of them. Found a nice bit of conduit on top of the rock. Don't know how it got here, but it looks like someone's run over it and just dumped it. But it makes a good pointer. And just over here is a unique feature that we see on these rocks. And this is probably the first time I've seen it full. This is a magnificent namathole. It's a bit hard to say how deep this is because over the years everyone's felt the need to toss a rock into here. I know it's a lot deeper than, probably the 500 mils that's there. Camped at a special spot just out of Wubin. It's been 56 years since we first came out here when I was 10 years old. And one of the things we found here in the middle of the night as kids was a dam, which is over there. Didn't have a fence around it back then. I think it had a metal or a corrugated iron roof on it, and it was pretty scary as a 10-year-old. And there weren't as many trucks back then either. Just at the end of winter, and there's been a bit of rain over the last few days or weeks, and there is a section of area here that's been walled off to form a bit of a dam. It's been fairly overcast today and yesterday afternoon, but the sun's finally come out, and at last we got some of the wildflowers popping out. I'm wandering around this great big rock that we've camped at. We decided to stay an extra day. It's just such a great feeling to be able to make a decision like that and know I don't have to race around to get back to work on a Monday. When we were kids, Mum and Dad used to bring us up through here on the way to Meekatharra, and we'd stop at this rock usually for a night. It would take us a day to get here. And I remember when I was about 11 or 12, still at school, obviously, when the first term started, I couldn't wait for the May holidays so we could get away and come up here because I loved it that much. And one day we stopped out here and I walked up the road, which in those days was a single lane highway all the way to Meekatharra. And if you saw another car, you usually stopped to say hello because so very few trucks used that road and so very few cars. Anyway, I walked up this road and I stood in the middle of it knowing that nothing was coming. And I thought to myself, it took a long time to get here, and clearly in my head I remember thinking, this holiday will be over so quick. And that was over 50 years ago. You got to take the time to do the things that you want, because life is a lot shorter than you think it is. I think this must be the start of the wildflowers coming out. Got a few pink ones here, some that haven't even opened up yet, and then we move into a really nice patch of the white everlastings, all facing towards the sun. And there's a couple of little yellow ones in this patch there. More yellow ones coming up here. And more pink ones just here. This is going to be really, really spectacular when they all come out. All these white flowers are out. A couple of pink ones in this area. And here's one that's quite common to the area, but I've never really known the name of it or what it is. I'm heading over there. There's a couple of rocks that are all standing up. I don't know what they are, but it just seems a bit unusual like that. Believe it or not, someone's had a campfire here. At least it wasn't a body. Just pulled up to have a look at these rocks. They've been stacked there for a reason. And then when I look across over here, there's another big sheet of rock just over there, and it's been raised up with two rocks on either end. That was quite common in the Shire of Dundas, and apparently the local Aboriginal groups used to do that to make a shady spot for the lizards to go into, and then they would come and spear them out. I've never been 100% sure whether that was true. I was told by a historian that that was the case, but it's interesting to see it here. Never seen it anywhere else before. Just see the yellow ones all popping out now. I'm still wandering around this big rock, coming to all the bits that have been exposed over the centuries or millennia. And here is another rock formation that's clearly man-made. I know that because kangaroos don't have hands that can lift things that heavy. God only knows why this was put here. It's a bit away from the campsite, which is over in that direction there. Main road's over that way. Not a lot of people wander away from the campsite, so I don't know why that's there. Unless it's some sort of hide.